June 4th, 1937 hours. Somewhere over northern France. The darkness is complete, except for the occasional flash of tracer fire far below. You can almost feel the cold air biting through leather flight jackets as P-61 Black Widows glide silently between clouds, their radar humming like a distant heartbeat. Below, German bombers move with deadly predictability, unaware of the hunter waiting for them. Colonel Terry Allen sits hunched in the cockpit, eyes fixed on the faint green glow of his radar scope. A whisper of tension runs through the aircrew. He knows every signal, every flicker, every blip could mean life or death. His squadron is the most feared night fighting unit in the European theater. Aircrews whisper his name when the enemy's bombers vanish into blackness. Yet tonight feels different. Tonight, someone is watching Allen more closely than usual. On the radio, General Omar Bradley's voice crackles. Not the usual calm encouragement, but clipped, precise, almost impatient. Allen's jaw tightens. He's faced flak, fighters, and frozen engines, but the weight of authority observing his every move gnaws at him. The Black Widow banks sharply to avoid an incoming searchlight. Engines roar, vibrating through the fuselage. Allen's fingers tighten around the control stick. He's in the rhythm now. The rhythm that has earned him the title of America's most feared night fighter. Every pilot in the squadron knows his tactics. Every German bomber crew fears the moment they hear the soft ping of his radar before their tail catches fire. But higher up, the chain of command is unraveling. Bradley doesn't understand night combat the way Allen does. Bradley's reports call for restraint, for caution. Intelligence briefings have underestimated enemy movement. Yet Allen's success comes from risk, from improvisation, from moving faster than bureaucracy can dictate. A bomber drifts into view, illuminated briefly by moonlight. Allen's co-pilot freezes for a split second. Then the gunner opens up, tracer fire arcing into the night. Explosions ripple below like controlled lightning. Allen doesn't celebrate. He notes the timing, the formation, the escape vectors already planning the next engagement. Precision, not bravado. And yet, somewhere in Washington and London, the story is different. His kills are impressive, yes, but so is insubordination. Allen questions orders. He improvises. He refuses to follow the rigid chain of command, and in war, that is dangerous. Not for him, but for those who don't understand him. Tonight, as Allen radius back the success report, there's a tension that feels almost tangible. You can hear it in the static, in the clip tones. This is the moment before...
This is Black Widow, engaging target. Hold position.
Headquarters is already deciding greatness will not excuse rebellion. June 8, 15th, 944, 1912 hours, 9th Air Force, England. The morning is gray, mist-curling around the edges of the airfield like a ghost of yesterday's raids. The Colonel Terry Allen sits across from his commanding officer, a folded dispatch in hand, the paper heavier than lead. Every pilot in Europe knows that Allen's uni has changed the night war forever. But in this office, reputation is powerless against protocol. Brigadier General Omar Bradley's staff is tense. Clips of intelligence reports lie stacked neatly, each one contradicting Allen's instincts. Radar logs, bombing runs, intercepted communications. They all suggest Allen is reckless, unpredictable, beyond control. Bradley doesn't hate Allen. He fears what Allen represents, a man whose brilliance cannot be caged, whose instinct makes him untouchable yet insubordinate. Allen opens his mouth, ready to defend every maneuver, every kill, every split-second decision that has saved Allied lives. But Bradley doesn't ask. The officer across from him simply lays down the ordering. You are relieved of command, effective immediately. Allen feels the words like a physical blow. The room shrinks. The murmur of typewriters, the creak of chairs, the distant roar of aircraft engines. None of it matters. He reads the order again. Twice, 3 times, every word etched in cold ink and no appeal. No explanation, no announce, you'll pack your things. The aide says, voice low, carefully neutral. Major General Bradley has decided it's best for command continuity. Allen's eyes flicker, a storm contained behind the calm mask he has perfected over countless nights in the cockpit. The officer misjudges him. This is not surrender. This is observation, analysis, and somewhere deep inside a plan begins to form. A plan not written in radar logs or bombing maps, but in revenge, in methodical calculation, in the kind of patience that has toppled empires in smaller wars. Outside the window, the morning mist begins to lift. Aircraft taxi on the runway, oblivious to the human chess game unfolding in the office. Allen's mind is already calculating trajectories. Not for bombs, but for the career-altering maneuvers he will unleash. He doesn't yell. He doesn't protest. He nods once, precisely, and turns away. Every muscle in his body is coiled. This dismissal is not defeat. It's an opening. Later that evening, Allen drafts a letter, carefully worded, scalding in tone but impeccably polite. It will reach Washington, and eventually the ears of Bradley himself. Every sentence is a dagger disguised as civility. Every paragraph reminds the brass of one inconvenient truth: Allen is the man who wins battles the night cannot see. And somewhere in that letter, almost casually, he embeds the promise of retaliation. Not in the messy theater of politics. Not in empty rhetoric, but in performance, in action. In the way only Terry Allen can rewrite the rules without ever stepping outside the boundaries of professionalism. By midnight, the letter is sealed. Allen leans back, eyes tracing the outline of a P-61 model on the shelf. A reminder of what he commands, what he understands, and what no general, not even Bradley, can take away: instinct, skill, the night itself. He knows this is only the beginning. 19th-6-4 3rd June 45 hours. Northern France over enemy lines. The moon is a sliver, barely cutting through the clouds. Below, the German night sky is alive with the slow, deliberate glow of anti-aircraft flak. Bombers lumber through the dark, unaware that someone is tracking them, calculating every move before they even know the game has started. The Colonel Terry Allen grips the control stick of his P-61, the Black Widow humming with lethal precision beneath him. Radar screen glowing faint green, he sees more than dots. He sees opportunity, failure, and the human cost of every misstep. Behind him, his co-pilot whispers coordinates, voice barely audible over the engine. Allen nods, silent, like a conductor guiding an invisible orchestra. Every sortie is a lesson in physics, instinct, and timing. Every shot fired is a messaging: disobedience is not weakness. His men follow him not because of orders, but because of respect earned in darkness. He doesn't need rank now. He is authority incarnate, a force that even the chain of command can't fully contain. And yet, there is the shadow of Bradley's decision. Relieved of command, Allen is technically just a passenger in the hierarchy. But in the night, rank is meaningless. Skill is law. Every bomber that vanishes beneath his guns is a subtle retaliation. Every mission executed with flawless execution, a reminder that dismissal cannot erase mastery. Below, a squadron of German Hinkel 111s drifts in tight formation. Unaware that the hunter knows every blind spot, Allen leans forward, hand steady, eyes narrowing. The P-61 slides like smoke across the blacked countryside, invisible until it strikes. A single burst, perfectly timed. Engines scream. Tracers paint the night. Two bombers spiral out of control. One bursts in flames. Silence follows. Back at headquarters, Bradley receives the operational report. The numbers are irrefutable. The night enemy has lost dozens more planes than expected. And yet, the man responsible is the very officer Bradley just relieved. Reports will be filed. Medals tallied. But the human element cannot be captured on brutal humiliation, the silent rebuke embedded in every sortie. Allen still flies. Allen does not celebrate. He doesn't need to. He lets the night speak for him. The Black Widow glides back toward friendly airspace, engines softening, radar fading to idle. His co-pilot exhales, a mixture of relief and awe. Allen's face remains unreadable, calm. But inside, a single thought flickers: Bradley may have fired me, but the night answers only to me. And somewhere in that silence, revenge begins to take shape, not as anger, not as spectacle, but as inevitability. July 3rd, 1940 12 hours. Night skies over the Normandy corridor. Lightning flashes from distant storms, illuminating fields and hedgerows for a fraction of a second. Allen's P-61 drifts silently over the patchwork of farmland and bomb-scarred roads. His radar hums a low, steady pulse beneath the cockpit. Every blip is a story. Every shadow could be life or death. Tonight, he is not just hunting enemy aircraft. He is sending a message. Bradley may command the bureaucracy, but Allen commands the night. He has studied every mission report, every intelligence brief Bradley once questioned, and he knows where the gaps lie. Every bomber that survives, every mission that falters, is proof that leadership from a desk cannot replace instinct in the air. The Black Widow banks sharply over a convoy of enemy trucks. Anti-aircraft fire erupts, tracers streaking past the cockpit like angry lightning. Allen's fingers tighten on the controls. One breath, one burst, calculated, lethal. He releases the guns in perfect rhythm with the enemy's blind spots. Explosions ripple across the convoy, fires ignite along the fields. Silence follows. Mission complete. Behind him, his crew exchanges brief glances. They don't need words. They've flown hundreds of sorties under his command, and they know the rhythm: precision over panic, patience over orders. Allen's methods may have enraged Bradley, but they have kept men alive, aircraft intact, and the enemy fearful. Back at 9th Air Force Headquarters, the morning briefing is chaos disguised as order. Bradley pores over reports. Losses are higher than predicted, yet Allen's unit has achieved more than expected. Officers exchange uncomfortable glances. The man he fired, Allen, is proving the theory that risk, when guided by skill and instinct, can outperform rigid planning. Allen doesn't gloat. The Black Widow drifts through the clouds, engines steady, radar faint. He knows the war is larger than one night, larger than one general. But every sortie, every carefully measured strike tightens the coil of his quiet revenge. He has been removed from command, but his impact cannot be erased. Every bomber down tonight is a silent rebuke. Every map marking destroyed supply lines is a note to Bradley, you cannot control what you do not understand. And in the back of Allen's mind, a dangerous thought takes root: if bureaucracy cannot recognize genius in time, the night itself will enforce judgment. July 1944, 2:50 hours. RAF station in southern England. The air is damp with the smell of aviation fuel and wet canvas. Allen steps out of the P-61, boots crunching on gravel, helmet under arm, eyes scanning the horizon for movement. Not enemy movement, but opportunity. Intelligence officers shuffle papers nervously, aware that he has returned from another night raid with staggering results. The whispers start before he even enters the briefing room. Terry Alling again. He doesn't need orders. How does one man do what an entire command struggles to coordinate? The officers speak in awe tinged with irritation. Allen doesn't react. He has learned long ago that power can be wielded silently, like the predator in the darking: no flash, no noise, no unnecessary flourish. The results speak for themselves. Inside the briefing room, maps spread across the table show crisscrossing lines of bombing runs and interdictions. Allen leans over the charts, tracing each strike with a fingertip, detailing what worked, what nearly failed, and where the enemy underestimated them. Every officer in the room notices the clarity, the precision, the undeniable brilliance. Yet Bradley's shadow looms in the memory of every word spoken. Allen's reputation has become its own weapon. Pilots follow him instinctively. Crews trust him implicitly. Even higher command cannot ignore the kill counts, the supply lines disrupted, the night skies cleared of threats. He has turned dismissal into influence, proving that operational excellence can outshine administrative authority. But there is a subtle tension. Allen's methods are irregular, unpredictable, and cannot be controlled by standard doctrine. Every mission executed under his eye is a silent challenge to Bradley's decisions. Each success whispers, "I told you so," without a single syllable uttered. And Allen knows that, eventually, the brass will notice even if they cannot admit it openly. Outside, the wind whistles across the tarmac. Engines roar as Black Widows taxi to the runway. Allen watches without haste. A single thought presses against his disciplined exterior: the war may be governed by generals and strategy, but in the shadows of night, he alone dictates survival. And one day, Bradley will have to reconcile that fact with the authority he wielded so confidently just weeks ago. Tonight, as Allen reviews the next set of targets, the line between revenge and duty blurs. He is no longer just a commander, he is a living argument against misplaced leadership. August 2, 1947, 18 hours. Over the skies of France near Caen, the night is still, oppressive in its calm. Allen's P-61 glides like a shadow between drifting clouds. German convoys move cautiously, unaware of the predator above. Every radar ping, every blip is cataloged, measured, anticipated. This is not just combat. It is a silent rebellion against the man who sought to cage him. Inside the cockpit, Allen's co-pilot murmurs coordinates. Allen's response is methodical, almost surgical. A slight adjustment in altitude, a minor course correction. Enough to avoid flak yet perfectly position them to strike. One burst from the Black Widow's cannons, and a supply truck erupts into fire. Another and a half track flips along the road, scattering troops in panic. Every strike is efficient, calculated, impossible to dispute. Back at headquarters, reports trickle in. Losses for the enemy soar. Yet the chain of command cannot assign the credit to anyone. Order. Allen has removed himself from the hierarchy, yet his influence spreads like a shadow over every sortie. Each officer who reads the reports feels a mixture of awe and frustration. How can a man outside official command continue to shape outcomes so decisively? Allen's mind drifts briefly to Bradley, to the office in England where his dismissal was formalized. A smile flickers, then almost imperceptible. He does not dwell on anger. He understands too well the power of subtlety. His rebellion is quiet, professional, lethal in its precision. No speeches, no headlines, just results. The Black Widow dips, engines soft against the night. Alan's eyes scan the horizon, calculating, always calculating. Each mission builds a pattern, a proof of concepting authority is meaningless without understanding. And while the brass debates, he executes. He doesn't fight Bradley openly. He fights in a language the general cannot reading: excellence under pressure, mastery under constraint, fear channeled into precision. And somewhere in that silence, he knows history is watching. Every destroyed convoy, cleared bomber path is a sentence written without words. A verdict waiting for acknowledgement. Alan is no longer just a pilot. He is a reckoning in the night, and the people who fired him have no defense against it. August 14th, 94 to 255 hours. The skies above the scene. The night hums with tension. German flares illuminate the riverbanks for a fleeting second, casting eerie shadows on the water. Alan's Black Widow slices through the cold air, engines vibrating with controlled fury. Below, a formation of enemy transports moves toward a bridgehead. Vital, vulnerable, unaware of the hunter stalking them. Alan tightens his grip on the controls. The co-pilot reads out radar blips with a rhythm almost musical in its precision. Each enemy aircraft, each truck, each convoy is a problem to be solved. Every solution is a quiet message aimed at the brass that dismissed him. Every mission is both war and statement: you cannot fire the man who understands the night. From the air, the destruction is almost artful. One well-timed burst and a half-track erupts into flame. Another, and a fuel depot ignites along the riverbank, sending preams of smoke that reach the clouds. The night is alive with orange fire against black sky, chaos contained within the discipline of Alan's hands. Back at Ninth Air Force headquarters, intelligence officers scan incoming reports. The patterns are undeniable. His operations have crippled supply lines, delayed reinforcements, and saved Allied units on the ground. And yet, Alan is not officially in command. Bradley's office will acknowledge the results reluctantly, through careful phrasing in reports, avoiding any credit beyond necessity. Alan, however, does not seek acknowledgement. He does not need it. His revenge is not personal gratification. It is proof. Proof that brilliance cannot be suppressed by bureaucracy. Proof that skill and instinct outweigh rigid protocol when lives and history hang in the balance. As the Black Widow returns to base, Alan finally allows himself a brief exhale. He watches the horizon. The faint glow of Allied searchlights reflecting off the clouds. In the distance, the faint hum of aircraft returning from other missions reaches his ears. The night has been won, yet the war rages on. And somewhere in the quiet, Alan knows Bradley has received the message. Not in words, not in confrontation, but in undeniable results. September 5, 1944 AGO 3 hours. Ray F Station, Southern England. Dawn has not yet arrived. The mist hangs low over the tarmac, and puddles from the overnight rain reflect the faint glow of runway lights. Terry Allen steps down from his P-61, boots heavy on wet gravel, helmet under arm, the smell of fuel and ozone clinging to his jacket. Another night, another victory. Another undeniable demonstration that he is the best at what he does. Reports are waiting in the operations office. Alan reads them quietly, each line a confirmation: enemy night movements disrupted, supply convoys delayed, bombers intercepted, lives saved. And every achievement is credited not to him, officially, but to the unit. The man fired by Bradley has turned the night into his courtroom, the missions into irrefutable evidence. Pilots and crew gather around, hesitant, reverent. They exchange glances, knowing this man, dismissed, yet undefeated, has once again done what no bureaucratic order could achieve. Alan's calm expression hides the satisfaction, the subtle thrill of vindication. It is not revenge through chaos or confrontation, but through mastery, discipline, and the kind of performance that cannot be ignored. Elsewhere, Bradley reads the operational reports. His jaw tightens. Every column, every note, every log reinforces the same truthing: removing Alan from command has not reduced his influence. The night still bends to Alan's expertise, and the results are undeniable. Praise cannot be withheld forever, yet Alan never seeks it. He leaves satisfaction in the hands of history, in the destruction wrought by precision and instinct. Alan steps outside, mist curling around him. Engines from departing aircraft hum softly. He watches, detached, as the world moves, as plans are filed, as officers debate credit and chain of command. He has already delivered his verdict. Bradley may command on paper, but in the theater of darkness, Alan is the arbiter. And in that quiet, mist-laden dawn, it becomes clear his dismissal was irrelevant. His authority, earned in countless nights over hostile skies, remains intact. And for Terry Allen, that is more powerful than any formal recognition could ever be. October to 1940, 14:30 hours. Washington, the corridors of power hum with cautious efficiency. Papers shuffle, phones ring. Maps of Europe are pinned to walls, annotated with every sortie, every troop movement, every loss. In one office, Bradley reviews operational reports with a growing sense of unease. The numbers are flawless, the results undeniable. And the name behind them is Terry Allen. Washington is unaware of the subtle revolution happening in the night skies over France. Allen's influence cannot be legislated, cannot be constrained by memoranda or rank. Each intercepted convoy, each downed aircraft, each meticulously executed mission is a whispered argument. You may control titles, but not skill. You may assign command, but not genius. Allen himself sits in the officer's mess, quiet, meticulous. He sifts through reconnaissance reports, calculating, planning, never once allowing hubris to escape. Every letter he writes, every message he sends, carries the same precision he employs in the air. He is careful, polite, professional. But beneath the surface simmers the undeniable truth: the night has become his instrument, and history is recording his hand whether the brass likes it or not. Meanwhile, pilots back in France gossip quietly in hushed tones. Have you seen Allen's reports? One asks. Every mission perfect. Even, without command, he's controlling the air. Another nods. It's like he's everywhere at once. Bradley can't touch him. Their admiration carries an edge of fear. A brilliance cannot be disciplined. Excellence cannot be fired. And the man who should have been sidelined is more powerful than ever. Bradley, for his part, keeps a stoic face. But every report is a reminder. The system may have fired him, but it cannot erase Allen. The colonel's silent rebellion is a lesson no general wants to admit, a reckoning written in results rather than words. And somewhere, in the shadows of the Pentagon, Allen's legend grows. Not loud, not boastful, but inescapably true. As the sun rises over Washington, a single thought presses in Bradley's mind. Authority is nothing if brilliance chooses to ignore it. And Terry Allen, the man fired, has proven that night itself answers only to those who command it. November 19, 413, 58 hours, northern France near the German border. The night is silent, almost too quiet, as Allen's P-61 glides over shadowed fields and forests. The faint hum of the engines is the only sound, the only movement in a world poised between war and history. Radar lights blink softly, mapping out enemy convoys, revealing targets invisible to the human eye. Every mission tonight is routine, yet extraordinary, the culmination of skill, experience, and a quiet defiance that has outlived dismissal. Allen leans slightly forward, scanning the green glow of the radar screen. He has become more than a pilot, more than a commander, more than the man Bradley tried to sideline. He is a living argument. Authority means nothing without understanding. Precision outlasts protocol. Discipline triumphs over decree. The missions continue, but so does the story, whispered in the mess halls, reported in intelligence logs, and felt in the fear that lingers in the night skies. Back at headquarters, the reports are compiled, analyzed, and circulated. Officers murmur, quietly questioning the chain of command. How could one man officially removed continue to shape the theater of war so decisively? Even Bradley, careful and disciplined, cannot dispute the truth. Allen's influence extends beyond rank, beyond orders, beyond the very system that dismissed him. Allen himself doesn't celebrate. His satisfaction is quiet, almost invisible, contained in the precision of his actions. Yet beneath his calm lies the undeniable truth: the night, like history, cannot be controlled by bureaucrats. Every bomber intercepted, every convoy destroyed, every mission executed flawlessly is a testament to truth that bureaucracy refuses to acknowledge. Genius cannot be fired. As dawn threatens the horizon, Allen banks the Black Widow toward base. Mist curls around the fuselage, light beginning to pierce the darkness. Somewhere deep inside, a single thought endures: Bradley may have removed the title, but he cannot remove the skill, the instinct, the authority earned in hundreds of nights over enemy skies. History may write many versions of the war, but one fact is undeniable: Terry Allen, America's most feared night fighter, remains undefeated.